Welcome to the Improve Work podcast. I'm your host, Daniela Tancău, an HR consultant helping entrepreneurs and team leaders build motivated, high-performing teams. Here we talk about leadership, employee motivation, and other topics that enhance your ability to lead, whether you are an entrepreneur with a team, a business owner planning to build one, or a leader in a company. You'll gain practical advice and insights from me and my guests, experts in the field and entrepreneurs who share their leadership experiences. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe to stay updated on every episode. Let's dive into today's topic. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Improve Work podcast. Thank you for being here. My guest is James Wilkson, Managing Partner and Board Member of AEC Global Search Consultants. He shares with us some of the things he does to find and place the right people in senior leadership roles. And he talks about how he selects and approaches those who might be suitable for these job positions, how he ensures that they are compatible with the cultures of the hiring companies, and how he makes sure that these people are satisfied in their new roles. Finding the right match for a senior leadership position requires more than a simple recruiting and selection process based on job ads. And this is because often the most suitable, the most qualified people are not actively looking to change their jobs. So headhunting is the most reliable strategy for these positions. And because I practiced headhunting for a short period of time myself, I can say that it's very different than hiring through job ads and requires a broader set of skills. James has over 40 years of experience and he has guided principals, partners, and C-suite executives through transformative career transitions across a variety of industries. Let's dive in to see what it takes to make these transitions successful. Welcome to the podcast, James. Thank you for being here.
I appreciate you having me, Daniela.
Today we'll discuss about recruiting and selection for top level positions. And as a managing partner and board member of an executive search company, you have a tremendous experience. And I believe that discussing this topic can bring more awareness to the work involved in finding the right people. And I want to open our conversation with asking you what are the most frequent job positions requests received by your company?
Well, I appreciate your first question. We're a very specific type of firm. We're called a retained executive search firm.
Mm-hmm.
So in that environment, our clients pay us, we sign an engagement agreement, and they kind of pay us along the way. So we become an extension of their leadership team, at least while we're under contract. So we most of the time work for the leadership team looking for leadership roles. Not always, but the majority of the time. So a lot of times it's an executive role, a C-suite job, or perhaps it's running a market. So but all of them typically are leadership roles. So when you go down a little bit into, say, a senior project manager role, that's still going to be leading a major project. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I hope it made a little bit of sense.
Yes, and I knew that your company is dedicated to top level positions, to senior leadership positions.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And how much time is usually allocated to fill this type of job positions?
So that's a tricky question because we're working with what we call passive candidates. So typically we're communicating with candidates they're not looking at all. So when we approach them, we're approaching them strategically because the client either wants to find somebody that's currently with their what we'll call competitor, or it could be a whole shift is going on. So our dream timeline would be 90 days from the beginning to at least having an offer in play. Sometimes it goes fast. Sometimes it's a month or two. But the reality is, if I'm talking to somebody that's, say, they're currently the vice president of sales and they're doing a good job where they are, They can't just pack up and leave. They have to be prepared. So the conversations take place over usually about a 90-day period, and anywhere from 3 to 6 months is when they usually start. Um, we target 90 days, though. That's our
Mhm.
target. Does it always work that way? No, but that's what we try to do.
Mhm. Yes, it's a long but a reasonable period of time to search and find these people. So I understood from our previous conversation that you use mainly headhunting as a strategy to find these people in for these kinds of position. And from your experience, what are some main reasons for which these people become interested in a new job position? Because, as you said earlier, they are sometimes passive and they are not actively looking for a job.
That's a great question, and frequently it's kind of what separates us from the rest of kind of your standard recruiting setup. So our process, the term headhunting, really came from, gosh, decades ago when companies would acquire a search firm to go out and get the best competition, the people that you know, they love to hire the people that need the job. They love to hire people that reply to jobs. But sometimes there's cases where a role is just so sensitive or strategic, they need really strong experience. And they can't get at the people that are heads down doing their work. So what we do when we engage in, to describe it as headhunting, is we're doing a bunch of research to find out uh, what drives someone, what's missing, what are they doing well, and so we have to get them to engage with us. So to get them to engage with us, we try any variety of things to get them to take a meeting. And then in that meeting, we do not try to sell them. Frequently, we don't even tell them about the role. If it was you, I'd say, Daniela, you have a lot of experience from what we've gathered, from what we've read in HR administration and operational work and how you run an HR organization. Would you mind talking to me and sharing with me? You know I'm in the industry, but I'm not necessarily going to try to sell you on something. But what I would like to learn is what's great about what you're doing and what's missing. What would you do differently? If you had any control, what would you change? And
Mhm.
I get them to interact with me. I drive curiosity. I drive true, genuine interest in what makes somebody successful, because they really don't need to talk to me. They're busy. They got a life to lead. They've got a family to take care of. And the goal here is to see if there's something to get them to communicate with me. And when I
Mhm.
say me, anyone with me, anyone on our team, we work very collaboratively here. So I hope that addressed that question.
Yes, I want to ask you a few other questions. So, how do you frame these discussions? Because you said that you don't sell the job position, you don't talk about it at the beginning. How do you make them interested to be in those conversations?
That's a good question. Tricky, fun. I like it. I like it. Okay. So when I was new in this business, when I was young and probably far more interesting than I am today, one of the things that I learned in the business, both from a little bit from mentoring from people that were mentoring me, but also just from gathering the understanding of uh, traits in humans, I began to understand that people, when given the opportunity, enjoy sharing their experiences with others. They want to talk about what they've learned. So my approach is always about them, about what makes, okay, so you've gained this expertise in whatever specialty you work, whatever it is you're doing professionally. I want to talk to them first about that and about share with me all of your life experiences, what you've gained, what you've learned, not unlike what you and I are doing right now. And then they share with me, oh, well, gosh, yes, usually we send them a message that's kind of interesting about them and appreciative of their work experience and how they've gained notoriety, whether we send it an email or on a LinkedIn message. We say to them, and we make sure we know what we're talking about. We make sure we actually learned a little bit about the candidate, potential candidate. And we want to talk strategy. How did that happen? How did you make this move in your career? How did you accomplish that? I read a white paper that you wrote. So we're learning about them and giving them an opportunity to have a discussion. Most people look at our backgrounds and know, oh gosh, they're a search professional. They're probably here to headhunt me. But I don't mind talking. Curiosity, right? So I try and push the curiosity button. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, sure. And there are some key information you are looking for when you try to find out if a person is fit for a job.
Yes, there is. So I think it's real important that you actually know what they do. I can't tell you how many people I talk to that say, oh, I get messages from recruiters every day and they have no idea what I'm doing. They send me a random job spec. I mean, I didn't even ask for a job spec. I don't even know why they're calling me, why they messaged me. So part of that happens because, well, I hate to say it, a lot of people in the recruiting industry are, I don't want to say lazy, but a little bit lazy. They don't take the time to understand who they're reaching out to. That's pretty disingenuous. I want to know before I reach out to somebody. I want to see what it says they do, and then I want to go out myself and try and verify that before I reach out. So I know that they have the technical skill, at least they say they do, and I hope I can find some project information that says, okay, if they were a chief financial officer and I saw that they were there during a merger of two companies, maybe I should discuss that merger with them and understand that, oh, wow, you helped create a merger and acquisition process that's really made your company successful. How did you do that? I would like to talk to you about that. And then from there, as I learn the technical piece, I share that with them. So when they respond back, they can be comfortable knowing that I do know why I'm reaching out. I have a reason. It's not just random. Part, little casual on my word there. So that's the first part. From there, I begin the whole other part, which is the cultural piece. So, yeah.
And what are you looking when you try to decide if they are fit from a cultural perspective?
Well, the first thing I look at, I think, I look for some red flags, right? You want to look at that. So how would I know what a red flag is? Well, there's two parts to that. The first part is I know my client, the company that engaged me and retained me. They go through a discovery process with us where we learn a lot about each other. We learn a lot about what's missing, what the leadership team needs, what it's really like to be there. Please share your war stories. We want to know the challenges you've had, and why is this role open? What is it that you're doing? What happens? Is this a growth role? Is this a replacement role? Are we expanding? Are we trying to shift the culture? And if so, how hard is that going to be? So once we know that, and now I know that in your previous question that the candidate looks like they have the technical skills, I begin to look at various accomplishments they've made, storytelling, sharing. We share a lot to see their reaction. We share things that may or may not be even about our client. Like, how would you react in a certain situation? How do you handle these things? These are all standard questions that HR professionals usually do, right? Well, as a search professional, because I don't represent the company directly, I'm my own firm, I can do other things too. So some of those things that I do are just things that they might experience at the company. I might shift a meeting time. I might suddenly get interrupted. I might do all and see how they react when they tell me that they're going to be available, but they need to cancel. How do they handle me? How do they message? Are they showing emotion and soul and a heart? I see you're really good at technically doing the job, but are
Mm-hmm.
you likable? Do I even like you? Will my client like you?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my client is different than me. Maybe my client, it's rough there to work there. Maybe it's not the funnest place to be. Well, then I need to measure the person in front of me might be a little bit more analytical and not care, about that. What they care about is come to work, do my job, and go home. Well, that's okay. Then that's the right environment. But if it's an environment where soul and getting team membership and company culture and team culture together, these people, when they don't need a job, that's one of the advantages of what we have. Remember, I'm not trying to sell them on going there. I'm trying to make sure that they're the right person. They're also in a good job. They've already got a job. They don't need to go. So
Mm-hmm.
they typically will share with you the wounds, the things that hurt them, the things that are missing. And
Mm-hmm.
those are very frequently good cultural tells. Like if somebody says, I love my job. I love it here. I enjoy everything. But to be honest with you, I feel like in my role, as much as I'm supposed to be able to have a seat at the executive table, but I feel like we're not implementing any of my strategies. That tells me that they're interested in making things better. I usually ask what those things are, but they have a resistant board or a resistant team. And that's our missing point, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
my client might have told me, we're very excited to impart change here. We're all participating in it, but this one person on our team doesn't really want to go with that. So you see, I've got a little bit of a cultural fit here because that one person wants to leave to go where they can help get everybody excited. Maybe they want to build a mentoring program.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person's like, why fix it? It ain't broke, and they just don't. So I know I'm oversimplifying it. I will tell you this, all day, every day that's what we do here is
Mm-hmm.
play those games, play that card, try to figure it all out.
And from what you find and see, what are the main reasons for which people are willing to change their jobs? What are the main things that drives them to do this?
Um, Almost every time it's not money.
Mm-hmm.
Money is secondary. Money comes into play, but nobody cares if they're already working to make a move just to go work again and get paid again.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually looking for a shift in lifestyle, in culture, in something that's beyond their control. So the things that make people usually go are things like unmet promises,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a lack of cohesion amongst the organization. Like it's too, we used to call that too much like an ivory tower, where realistically, there's just one person at the very top, and in the middle, everyone has ideas, but those ideas don't ever get put into play. Sometimes it's we have tons of teams, but the teams don't work together well. So all those things, or it could just be real simple, nothing, nothing alarming. They've done the same types of work for a long time, and they do have another skill set that they don't get to exercise as much as they used to. They maybe want some of that responsibility back. So I've seen all kinds of things. Companies have great chief sales officers, say, really good. And then they bring in a chief revenue officer that starts telling the chief sales officer what to do, which happens sometimes. The salesperson loses that enthusiasm. They feel like they've lost that control. It could be, in an HR setting, an example might be uh, a senior HR professional is next year going to be named the vice president of human resources. They've worked for 20 years to get that title. And that year, that 20th year comes up, and the leader, the CEO says, well, we've decided this year we're going to wait another year. And that just breaks them. They don't say anything. They go, I understand. I understand. And they go back to their desk, they go back to work. And then a message happens to come from me that says, within a couple, 3 weeks, you're doing your job, you let it go, you think you're okay. And then an email from LinkedIn pops up and it says, hi, I'm James. I'm, a search consultant. And I've seen you've got 20 years of very exciting experience in human resources. And I have a pretty exciting client. I'm not asking you to interview. I'm not asking you to do anything. I just would like to meet you. You're probably going to meet me because you're pretty upset right now. So we have the meeting, we start the conversation, and one of the first things that'll come out of your mouth is, I really don't want to leave. I love it here. I am so happy. And I'm like, okay, but if you could change something, you might say, well, for the last 5 years, I've been lining up to be the vice president and they keep kind of delaying it. And like, okay, well, what if I had a pathway for you to get that VP title now? You probably keep talking. It doesn't mean you're quitting. It just means you're talking. That's it. And that's all we do. So when we introduce you to our client, we tell our client, they'll always ask us, well, what would make them leave? Well, this is the third year in a row they put off the VP title. And then they'd say, do you think it's because they're not ready to be a vice president? And I would say, well, I've had 3 conversations. I think that their company's making a mistake. I think she's pretty upset. Well, that's how it all goes. Every single search is like that. It's always what's missing, always. And rarely is it the money. What's fun is then I usually get them more money too.
Yes. Yes.
So, that's the fun part. The hard part is, do you have the courage to walk away from a good job? It's terrifying, right? It's terrifying to do it.
Yes, because they take some risk. Maybe they will find other challenges at the new company they don't know, and they have to make sure that this doesn't happen. And regarding this, how do candidates ensure that they make the right move when changing a job?
I think you and I talked about this once, right? You were going to kind of talk about it's like sales and communication and all the negotiation.
Yes.
How do we help that, right? How do we keep that from happening? So I call it's a build up. So we should build up researching both sides all the way through this process. That's why it can take 3 to 6 months. It's not like they go, hey, nice to meet you, Danielle. We'll talk to you in 6 months. We have you take meeting after meeting after meeting. It's kind of fun. It's confidential. Everybody makes promises that if you aren't the one chosen, we're going to keep that quiet. And we suggest to the candidates that when they're having these conversations, keep that quiet. Go do your job. Keep kicking butt at your job. Keep being great, but go have these meetings just like you would a friend or anyone else. Go take that meeting. Maybe we don't ever do meetings at the office. Maybe the meetings are off site. Maybe they're at a restaurant. Maybe they're somewhere else until you're ready to walk into that office and look around. Because the more exposure you get, the riskier it gets.
Yes.
So we want you to be comfortable, the candidate, being able to evaluate, which means at first, we just see if we like each other. We build up. The next time we go, tell me your challenges. You ask them. They say, well, these are our challenges. And then they say, what do you think of those challenges? You say, yeah, I have some of those myself. Well, how would you handle them? Well, this is what I've done at my business. These are the things they won't let me do. They won't. We will. You see, and we start that
Mhm.
dance. And then you can look them straight in the eye and said, if you use your heart and you're careful, you say to them, I know, but my client, where I work now, they told me they would let me too. And I'm frankly a little nervous. What if I leave and come to you? Well, we'll give you our assurances. We I'll have you talk to other people on the team that will tell you we are ready and willing to make this change
Mhm.
because people will move for the things they can't move now. Does that make sense? They will
Yes.
move for differences that can't be made.
Mhm.
People are looking for a new challenge or a challenge that they can't fix and they feel stuck. And that, by the way, exists from middle, even lower management, or even brand new entry level people that are beginning their career. They will always move for the same reasons a CEO will. And
Interesting.
it will always be, I can't get the board to listen. I can't get, they won't give me the budget to hire a better team. So think
Mhm.
about it. If you're a CEO and you're promised you can come in and implement these challenges, these strategies, and then they're told, no, no budget, no whatever, is
Mhm.
that any different than if you are an entry level person that's worked for 4 years and you're about to get your first promotion and you get it and they go, but we gave you the title, but you don't get to manage anybody.
Yes, it's about the company's culture, how about the system, how they operate inside.
Exactly.
And how many times a candidate meet with the company representatives? So not with the with you or with your team members, with those who work in that company.
Um, I like to say as many times as necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be 3, 4, 5. Sometimes if it's 4, 3, 4, or 5 times, they're also meeting multiple people during that.
Mm-hmm.
So at the higher level, the tendency becomes what we would call the team that's the selection team. So you would meet everyone you're going to interact with over time and frequently a couple of your subordinates that would be reporting, but those are done confidentially and over time. So you wouldn't bring that in early, you wait. So on average there's probably 3 to 6 meetings over the course of several months, but the mix of people will be different sometimes so that you get a
Mm-hmm.
full picture. You find out not just your department, but what's going on in other departments. And we want that because we want it to be a good fit. Um, Between you and me, I really want it. I think we warrant 1 to 2 years, so we want them to like each other, to be able
Of
to get
course.
along.
Of course, yes, and they get this chance to know each other better through these meetings.
Yes. And
Mm-hmm.
if somebody's really good at faking that they're going to get their way, the more people they meet, the more there'll be some that won't do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There'll just be some that'll tell the truth,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they'll say, no, you'll be able to do the strategy. The reason it didn't happen is the other person that was here now or used to be here didn't want to do it. Then,
Mm-hmm.
or you'll have one say, you'll never get that done. That's not going to happen. That's why we want them to meet multiple.
Mm-hmm. And do you take feedback from these people who are hired through you to see how they manage in their roles, if they are happy with their new positions and how they feel in those positions?
Yes, we check in obviously right away the first week just to see if they feel like they're getting settled. Then we stay in touch usually forever. We check
Mm-hmm.
in, every few months, and then usually that changes to 6, 7 months, but we always message, we send emails, in-mails, make a call, how you doing? But they tend to reach out to us too. If we've done a good job, they're going to say, wow, I'm so happy you did this, and I'm so glad to be here. Sometimes we're lucky and say, I'm so glad to be here, and I need you to hire the person that you're
Mm-hmm.
going to replace me because I got promoted. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm now on the selection committee. Those are my favorite calls. So, because
Right.
I know them, right? I know exactly who to bring. So,
Yes, you have already a connection and you
yeah,
know what they want. Yes, it's very helpful.
yeah.
I want also to ask you if you made some changes during along your experience in headhunting, in approaching or communicating with candidates, if something was needed to be changed to improve things.
You know, I remember when you and I first met, one of the other questions you asked me, and I think we can connect these two together, is you asked me, since what we do is kind of invasive,
Yes.
um, well, what's interesting is you are right. I looked around at the people that I was learning from and said, it seems a little invasive. And at that time, I made a professional decision to implement change very early on in my career, which was, and I've always been evolving this way. Um, I don't do this to make a placement. I don't do this to make money moving someone.
Hmm.
That's a byproduct of what I do.
Hmm.
So the change I make and the changes and the evolution I continue to have are not to be invasive, but to be a consultant that learns what makes you. If you are the person I'm talking to, Daniela, I want to know about you.
Hmm.
And when you tell me about you, I'm going to tell you stories about people that I know, clients that I know, including the reason I reached out to you behind the scenes over here. That's what made me first reach out to you is I thought maybe you're good for that. But then I take that and throw it away. I want to know you.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
talk to me and you talk to me for 20, 30 minutes. So the evolution of that was always, always, always be focused on the person that's in front of you. Never assume anything. Always be open to the possibility that once I get to know you, I do know what you're perfect for. And it's not this, it's
Hmm.
that. And if I go in that way, I get you, I learn you. And
Hmm.
I saw that from the very beginning of when I started. But even now, I always want to build curiosity because the more I can get from you, the more I understand not what you do, but why you do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Why? The question of why.
I think that this is a very helpful and healthy approach for you because you don't risk doing things that are not good for your clients and also for the candidates, and the candidate's interest is you.
Paramount.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, you take care of people, and in this way you make the best fit between candidates and companies. Otherwise, you can't do this.
right. And unfortunately, I know a lot of people that do what I do just want to get that job filled. And nothing against them. That's, but for me, I didn't feel satisfaction that way. I feel
Right.
satisfaction knowing that uh, they actually, it's great. And here we are 3 years later, 4 years later, and they're still happy and, and think highly of that. And that's it. So,
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you very much, James, for sharing these things with us. They were very helpful and get us more exposure to the work that you do. And I want to also to ask you, how can those interested in getting in touch with you can do this, and how can they learn more about you and your business?
oh, that's kind of you. And same to you. I always want to be able to refer people to you. So for me,
Thanks.
I think we could supply a website. Can we put that on the podcast, or do I need to? It's simple, but okay, you could put the link there.
Yes.
There's a link once you're onto the website. There's a link that you can click on an information page and just reach out. But you know what? My LinkedIn is another great way to find me. I think we're going to share LinkedIn so they can go directly to James Wilkson at AEC Global Search Consultants. So they can send me a private email. They could even mention that they heard this podcast. That would be really cool to know that. We do work globally, so we work in Western Europe and even the Far East as well. So real happy to meet anyone that wants to, even if they just want to talk to me and learn how we do what I do,
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people who work here are actually ex-HR professionals too. So please feel free to reach out. Thank you for that, Daniela.
I will put all the links in the description of this episode, and people can get in touch with you. Thank you very much, James, for being here.
Thank you. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you found value in this podcast, subscribe to stay updated. I'm grateful for your support and hope to continue providing content that helps you grow. See you in the next episode.